Never judge someone by their clothes on a first date. You show up nervous, wearing your best outfit from 3 years ago, and across the table sits someone who looks like they walked out of a magazine. Your heart sinks. You think you don't belong. But what if the person sitting across from you saw something in you that had nothing to do with designer labels or bank accounts? What if the very thing making you feel small was about to become the start of something incredible? Sarah Mitchell taught second grade at Lincoln Elementary. She loved her job, loved her kids, but let's be real, teachers don't exactly make bank. Her best friend Emma had been bugging her for months to try this new dating app. Emma meant well, but Sarah wasn't interested. Between grading papers and planning lessons, who had time? Plus, dating apps felt superficial. Swipe left, swipe right, judge someone in 3 seconds based on a photo. No thanks. But Emma wouldn't give up. One Friday night, after 3 glasses of wine and a particularly rough week at school, Sarah gave in. Emma grabbed her phone and set up the profile herself. Sarah barely paid attention. She was exhausted. The next morning, she woke up to 17 matches and a message from someone named Daniel. His profile was simple. No shirtless gym photos, no fish he caught, no cars. Just a nice smile and a bio that said he enjoyed books and good coffee. Sarah almost deleted the app right there, but something made her respond. They texted for a week. Daniel was different. He asked real questions. Not the usual what do you do for fun nonsense, but things like what book changed your life or what's something you believed as a kid that you still kind of believe now. He was thoughtful, funny without trying too hard. After a week, he asked her to dinner. Not coffee, not drinks, but dinner at Marcello's. Sarah's stomach dropped when she looked up the restaurant. Marcello's wasn't just nice. It was the kind of place that required a reservation. 3 weeks in advance. The kind of place where entrees cost more than her grocery budget for a week. She almost canceled. She texted Emma in a panic. I can't go there. I don't have anything to wear. I'll look ridiculous. Emma showed up at her apartment 2 hours before the date with 3 dresses and a makeup bag. When Sarah walked into Marcello's that evening, she felt every eye in the room turn toward her. The hostess looked her up and down. The other diners were dripping in jewelry and designer everything. Sarah's dress was nice, sure, but it was from Target. Her shoes were comfortable because she spent her days chasing 7-year-olds around a classroom. She spotted Daniel at a corner table, and her breath caught. He looked even better in person. Tailored suit, expensive watch, the kind of presence that commands attention without effort. She walked over, legs shaking. Daniel stood up, smiled, and pulled out her chair. You look beautiful, he said. Sarah sat down and immediately felt like she was going to throw up. The menu didn't have prices. That's how fancy this place was. If you have to ask, you can't afford it. They made small talk for a few minutes, but Sarah couldn't focus. She kept looking around at the other tables, at the crystal chandeliers, at the waiters in tuxedos. This wasn't her world. She didn't belong here. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. She leaned forward and whispered, I don't belong here. Daniel looked confused. What do you mean? Sarah felt tears prick at her eyes. This place, this whole thing, I'm a second-grade teacher, Daniel. I shop at thrift stores. My car is 12 years old and makes a weird noise when I turn left. I don't know which fork to use for what, and I'm pretty sure this napkin costs more than my phone bill. She laughed, but it came out bitter. You seem really nice, but I think you asked out the wrong person. Daniel didn't say anything for a moment. He just looked at her with this expression Sarah couldn't read. Then he reached across the table and took her hand. Sarah, I'm the CEO of Richardson Tech. My company is worth about $400 million. I drive a car that costs more than most people's houses. I have a personal assistant who manages my personal assistant. He paused. And none of that matters even a little bit. Sarah stared at him. What? You want to know why I asked you out? It wasn't your photos, though you're gorgeous. It was your profile. Emma wrote that you spend your own money buying school supplies for your students because the district budget doesn't cover it. That you stay late every Tuesday to tutor kids for free. That you cried at your students' talent show because you were so proud of them. Daniel squeezed her hand. I've dated plenty of people who belong in places like this, Sarah. People who know exactly which fork to use and what wine pairs with what fish. And every single one of them was boring. Empty. They liked my money. They liked being seen with me, but not one of them would spend their own paycheck on kids who aren't even theirs. Sarah didn't know what to say. Daniel kept going. My parents were both teachers. My dad taught high school English for 37 years. My mom taught third grade. They never made much money, but they changed lives. They certainly changed mine. I built my company because of what they taught me about hard work and caring about something bigger than yourself. He smiled. When I saw your profile, I saw my parents. I saw someone real, someone who gives a damn. That's rare. That's valuable. That's worth more than knowing which fork to use. The waiter came by and Daniel ordered for both of them, noticing Sarah's panic over the menu. He picked things he thought she'd like, asked her preferences, made it easy. They talked for 3 hours. Sarah forgot about the fancy setting, forgot about her Target dress and old shoes. They talked about everything, his childhood, her classroom stories, their favorite books, their biggest fears. Daniel told her about the pressure of running a company, how lonely it gets at the top, how hard it is to know if people like you or just like what you can do for them. When the check came, Sarah didn't even see it. Daniel took care of it like it was nothing. Probably because to him it was nothing. But what struck Sarah wasn't the money. It was how normal he made her feel. How he listened when she talked. How he laughed at her dumb jokes. How he didn't make her feel small for not knowing about wine or business or whatever rich people talk about. As they left the restaurant, Daniel walked her to her car. Her very old, very not fancy car that definitely made that weird noise when she turned left. He didn't even blink. "Can I see you again?" he asked. Sarah nodded, not trusting her voice. He kissed her on the cheek and waited until she drove away before getting into his own car. 6 months later, Sarah would tell Emma that she almost didn't go on that date, almost let her fear and insecurity keep her from the best thing that ever happened to her. Daniel would say the same thing, that he almost gave up on dating apps entirely before he saw her profile. They talk about how easy it is to judge by appearances, to assume you know someone's worth based on where they shop or what they drive. How the things that actually matter, kindness, integrity, passion, those things don't show up on a price tag. The truth is, belonging has nothing to do with money or status or knowing which fork to use. It's about finding someone who sees you, really sees you, and values what they find. Sarah didn't belong at Marcello's that night, but she belonged with Daniel, and he belonged with her. Everything else was just details. If you want to see what happened next in their story, the next video is already waiting for you.